Well, David, the Rolling 40s neighborhood Crips are known for selling drugs and committing violent crimes in South Los Angeles. There are about 750 known members of that gang.
What's going on? I'm Terrence Shepard, most commonly known as Pookie, Big Pookie Low, Big Pook, from the Rollin 40 Crips.
Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up on 43rd and 5th Ave.
And what schools did you attend?
I attended 42nd Street School. About the 4th and 5th grade, I went to 59th Street School. I went to Hillcrest, went back to 42nd Street School, got bussed out to Oso, went to Audubon, went to Crenshaw, got kicked out of there, went to Camden, I went to Westchester.
What gangs attended Audubon when you went there?
At the time, it was the 30s. You had a couple of Broadways there. You had a Hoover there. You had some 6-0s there. And you had some Black P Stones, a couple of 20s.
So at that point, junior high, you was cool with the 20s and the P Stones?
Well, I was more cool with the P Stones. I grew up with them. I played with at Baldwin Hills football with a lot of them Tone Stone, Darryl Ephraim, and all of them. So, you know, I grew up with the Jungles. Danny Boy, went to Hillcrest with them. Stayed over there too on Hillcrest for a couple of years. So I was all right with them.
What was the gang makeup like at Crenshaw High School?
The gang makeup, well, when I got there, it was predominantly 6-0s and 30s. You had a few 9-0s, sprinkle of 9-0s. You had a couple of East Coasters there. But when we got there, you know, from my neighborhood, we kind of came in a bunch. So it was a lot of us when we got there, around 82.
You knew E-Money, right?
E-Money, that's my boy.
Yeah, that was my guy right there, man.
Rest in peace.
Right. He was pushing Vernon Avenue Hustlers when we was in high school.
Yeah, he was pushing Vernon Avenue Hustler. He started off original King Boulevard Hustler on that side of Arlington, between Arlington and Western, off of King, between King and Vernon. They were the King Boulevard RFHs, Rollin 40 Hustlers back then, but they adopted Vernon Avenue Hustler in like 82, 83 with Big Sight, Champ, and all of them.
All right, tell me a little bit about the Vernon Avenue Hustlers.
The Vernon Avenue Hustler, well, how all that started?
Yeah.
Well, that came, well, earlier you had like Big Phil T-Mac, J Mac, Reggie Roney, and all of them, the Bigelows, and they used to claim the 40 with the 3 in the middle of the 4. So it was like West Side 4 Trey, you would say, but it was really 40s. And then you had the 40s with the 2 in the middle of the 0. You had the 40s with the 1 in the middle. So we had Arlington Boys, we had the Dairy Boys on 48th Street. We had the Twilight Zone that was back off of Cimarron. So we had these different blocks. But what happened is that me and Bobcat claimed the 42nd Street, and I was off the 43rd Street because I was on 43rd and 5th Ave. But we hung out on 43rd, excuse me, 43rd and 3rd Ave. Me and Bobcat used to always fight. We would cross out each other's little section. So one day we had a meeting at Chestnut House over off of 48th and Cimarron called the Twilight Zone in the Palace. Me, Big Snowman, Red, Little Snowman, Big Bud, Haley Mac, Chestnut, Spoonie, and Bobcat. So we all decided to beat Vernon Avenue because I was like, since we hung out on Vernon Avenue, we hung out on Vernon Avenue and 5th Avenue at Duke's Barbecue. And so since we all hung out on Vernon, I was like, well, let's go on ahead and beat Vernon Avenues. You know, Spoonie made up the sign, and from there we was Vernon Avenues. We decided to just be hustlers at the time, you know, and start making money more. That's how that all started. But you had Lil Pookie, Big Wimp, Baby Pookie, and Big Money Mun. They wanted to keep the Crip on it, so they would say Vernon Avenue Hustler Crip. But we was Vernon Avenue Hustlers at the time.
When you talk about Bobcat, you talking about Bobby Irvin?
Yeah, I'm talking about Bobby Irvin, DJ Bobcat, LL Cool J, Uncle Jam's Army.
Right.
Right.
Are the avenues considered the original 40s?
Well, you can't really consider who was the original 40 because everybody had their little pieces. You had in the avenues, you had, like I said, before we became Vernon Avenues, those little pieces. You had we called it the dark side avenues back then, and we called ourselves the light side avenues. But we would do that because we would bag on each other because it was so dark when we used to have BB gun fights and fight each other, and it would be dark over there. And then you had on Western, you had the Foedus HTHs, who later turned to become Rollin Foety neighborhood Crips. You had on 47th and 48th in Western, you had the neighborhood Foety Crips. The only Rollins was on the King Boulevard side. And then back by Normandy, which is called the dark side now, over there by Hoover and Vermont, they were Rollin Foety Hustlers over there. And then you had the 47 Vermont Square Parks by the Vermont Square Park area. So it's really, you can't really say who was really the original 40s, but I can say that the original neighborhood 40 Crips, Don Juan, Tojo, Big Sherman, and Flippin' all of them off of 48th and Western, they were the first really neighborhood Crips that we had. The V-Dog and all of them, Big Duck.
So the avenues weren't considered neighborhood Crips?
Well, we're avenues, you know what I mean? But being that we're 40s, it's neighborhood Crips too, but we're really just avenues.
Tell me a little about Big Stony Boy.
Big Stony Boy, well, that's my boy. Big Stony Boy was a church boy at first. He used to come around, little square boy. Then he, he started banging. He got the name Stony Boy actually because his uncle was Stony Boy from A-Trey Gangster. So that's how he adopted the name Stony Boy. He came on as Lil Key
Okay.
in the beginning.
And so, is that Little Stony Boy or they brothers?
Nah, Little Stony Boy was just a little homie.
I ain't so stupid, but I ain't on floss and I'm from Vernon Avenue. Ooh.
Okay. You know, Little Stony Boy, that was my little goon, my little boy right there, my little brother.
We talking about Eric Alexander?
We talking about Eric Alexander.
Rest in peace.
Right.
All right. Before all the hustler gangs was in the area, before it was
in the early
officially
70s,
Rollin
it was
Foety
Fruitown
Crips,
Brims.
what other
They
gangs?
covered basically, they went from the jungles to manual arts really. You had Michael Milkshake, Sharif, Dot, you know what I'm saying? You had Little, really all the older cats from the neighborhood that now say Rollin Foeties, they were actually Fruitown Brims in the beginning. You know, 1975, you had Big Dexter, Big Phil, Tony J, Gregory J, and all of them, Big Dean and them, and they were pushing West Side Crip, and they brought the Crip into the hood.
Was Big Phil ever from 30s?
Well, Big Phil was from 30s. He claimed 30s and 40s, actually. A lot of them did.
During the formidable years, what cliques, if any, resisted joining the 40s, the makeup of the 40s?
What clique resisted?
Was it any resistance at all?
Really, the 4-6s. The 4-6s turned neighborhood Crip in the 90s. You know, they didn't want to get into the Cripping, and they were just always saying that they was hustlers. The original 4-6s was Freddie Mims, Bobby Newman, you know, all them cats, Flopsy and all of them. Hot Dog and Big BJ came later. BJ was actually a 40 before he went to the 60s, then he went to the 4-6s. But then, you know, they didn't never turn to the Rollin Foety car. They claim 068 now, part as a 4-pack, you know what I mean? But you had them, then you had the 4-8 neighborhoods who was started by G-Ball, but that was consisted of the Rollin Foeties too. Before I went to prison, when I got out of prison, it seemed to have appeared to be a whole little different clique.
What year did you go to the pen?
I went to the pen in 1990. Went in 1991 actually, but I fought my case from all the 90s.
So 4-8 had started before you went to the pen?
Yeah, G-Ball was claiming 4. It was just a sprinkle of them.
And they was NAC?
Neighborhood Crips, just a few of them.
G-Ball,
just like another block of the neighborhood.
that was Gary Camphor?
Gary, I don't remember.
His name was Gary though?
Yeah, Dirt
that's
Brother. Yeah,
him.
Dirt Bike Brother.
Yeah,
Right.
stayed by the V&G.
Right.
Rock, C-Money, Will
Oh,
Dog.
them was all the park. Real Dog was actually a Western. He was actually from Hard Time Hustlers. He took the neighborhood over to the Vermont Square Park. You know, him and Rock was Road Dogs, Big C-Money and all of them. Right.
Will Dog, did he go to the pen for in that Hoover War, part of the
Yeah,
Hoover
yeah.
War? Yeah, because did a lot of time,
27
right?
years.
Yeah,
He
27
got parole, doing good now.
That's good. That's
Right.
good to hear.
Got his head straight.
What year did E-Bone, rest in peace, and Smurf and them come into play?
E-Bone, I met E-Bone in 86. He was already from Foety's on the neighborhood side, but I didn't actually get to know him. We became road dogs in 86. He was a young cat too, a young hog. You know, he got killed in 88. Smurf came around. Smurf was claiming the Rollin Foety Hustler side over there, the Foety's block. But when he first came around, it got put on the Foety's because a lot of them really, actually, we went down there and turned them all into Foety's. So they was mostly consistent Foety Avenues, but you had a lot of them claiming Foety neighborhood too. So Smurf started off as a Foety Avenue. We would call that area over there back in the days the ancient block, before it started being called the dark side. That's what they call them now. They call us now the dark side.
What was over there before the dark?
The Foety Hoovers.
And how did y'all get that territory from them?
Well, we went to war with them. We just pushed them back, you know, pushed them up out of there.
A lot of bodies lost around there?
Yeah, we had a lot of bodies lost. That's how we actually really got into it with the Five Deuces, because the Five Deuces really wanted that area. We had got into it with the Hoovers earlier on before in 83 when K-Rock got shot. Then it was a back and forth thing for a minute, but then it ceased. But then once the Five Deuce Hoovers, we got into it with them, that became a big type of war. You know, a lot of people thought we was gonna really lose that because we were real young. We was a young Crip set. You know, they called us the Bicentennial Crips back then, but we was all very young, and we wasn't as thick as the Hoovers, you know, the Hoover car. So a lot of people thought we was gonna get smashed. You know, we had our brothers from the Hoovers and from the 6-0s, from the 9-0s, or the 30s, wanted to assist, but we had it. We took care of our business.
When you get into it with the Five Deuce Hoovers, what's the relationship like with the Five Deuce Broadways?
What happened with the Five Deuce Broadway is I got shot by them, and so that kicked off a war.
What year was that?
That was 1989, December 13th.
How about the Foety situation? Y'all, how does that relationship develop?
Well, the Foety, we was more like family. We never had a problem with the Foeties. I don't know how the youngsters really get out today with it. The only thing that would semi kind of make it a problem because we was O's and they would trade. So when they come around, and we functioning, you know. But we wouldn't get involved in you know, we wouldn't let the beef happen.
So how y'all feel about the 430 situation?
The 40 and the 30 situation,
Exactly.
I was in the pen for that whole thing. I really didn't agree with it, and I really didn't know. I wasn't really out here when the war had popped. You know, I got a lot of family from Harlem.
Actually, I meant like the 4Trays and the 30s relationship.
The 4Trays and the
Do
30s.
y'all, I mean, it's like nothing. It's like y'all embrace both, or how does that work?
More the 30s. I don't really see too much of the 4Trays around. More the Harlems.
All right. How about the schoolyards? What's your relationship like with the schoolyards back then?
We didn't really get into it with the schoolyards. You know, we didn't get along with it. We didn't hang out with them, but we didn't really beef with the schoolyards.
Did y'all go to World on Wheels?
We went to World on Wheels, of course.
Yeah.
You know, I was DJing and Bobcat was DJing with Uncle Jam, so we would really go up there and do that. But plus, we was doing our little gang thing too at the same time. So we was at World on Wheels.
You had mentioned Buford earlier, going
Right.
from one set to the next.
Right.
Overall, his whole career, and may he rest in peace.
Right.
What gang would you label him? What would you consider him? If you had to put one label on it.
I consider him when he was last representing, 4-6.
What two rivals gave you guys the most problems?
With the Hoovers. The Hoovers, really. Nobody else.
Five Deuces.
In the 30 war.
And the
Oh
30.
shit, the 9-0s too.
How did 30 War start?
I
If
wasn't
you
out.
could speak on that, okay, you
Right.
did say that.
Right.
And 90 War didn't last long, did it?
No, it didn't last long.
Yeah, that's good.
All my niggas turn up. Big guns when we pull our shot. Hey, Flip.
I know you went to school with Crips, but
Right.
let's say in '81, around that era.
Right.
What Crips did you look up to? Any individual Crips from whatever neighborhood, or was it any Crip neighborhoods that you kind of looked up to?
Well, I really was following the suit of my uncle. They called him Shep Dog. He was just a West Side Crip back then. Dean T-Mac, you know, my older homie T-Mac, you know, because he used to have the blue rollers and walk around. But then I also used to admire Pookie, Lil Mump from 6-0. I used to like his style, his ways, because when I went over there, lived on 60th and Arlington for a few years, we would hang out, and I would hang out with his little brother, and I would see them meet and everything. You know, I got a couple of my little strategies from the meetings, and he used to be talking. He was real wise and quiet. You know what I mean? But he was with it too at the same time.
Just give me the rundown on when y'all had a meeting at 42nd Elementary to come together in your neighborhood. A lot of people say that was Big Phil and Gregory Jake.
And that was actually, really, to be honest, that was me and Champ. You know, we had a little discussion with Phil. That's when he wanted us to be hard on 40s. And so we was like, nah. So we decided that we was going to tell all the brothers from down on the western side, the parks, and what you call the dark side right now. We had everybody come up there, and we just met and just made it all one. Officially.
I ain't so stupid, but I ain't on floss and I'm from Rollin Avenue. Ooh, glove has too. All about the cabbage, nigga, vegetable stew.
If you could give me like a little roll call of the original 40s, obviously you probably can't name them all, but if you could just, if you could like remember like maybe 10 or 12.
Like I say, it was me, Chestnut, Bobcat, Red. I'm talking about from down our way.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? Big Bug, Snooky, Tookie, Travis. Who else we got? We had Light Blue. We had Duke. They called him Tiny Spade. He was an original. Big Key was an original. I would call Big Popeye an original too. He came a little later, but he was an original. Snowman, Lil Snowman. Stony Boy, I said Big Bug, didn't I? Right, Spoonie, but Spoonie, he turned Hoover later. Baby Pook was an original, and Lil Pookie, they were originals. Lil Bug was, what's going on, fella? Yeah. Rube Dog, right. Money Mun, right. T-Mac, Reggie, Ronnie, V-Dog, Champ, E-Money, Rick Rock, Black Kev, Steptoe, shit. It's a whole lot I can name.
On that picture with the graffiti on the wall, you said 1983.
Yeah, that was 83.
That was a cool flick. I like to see it, cause see that's documented.
Right.
When you actually have it on the wall and a picture to show it.
Right.
Yeah, that's the type of shit I'm into.
It's long time now.
34 years ago.
Right. So I struck that up.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend that now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I learned my lesson, but I actually took the paint out of my grandfather's garage and wrote all around the whole block. And he told me, why did I do that? I said, I didn't do that. He said, they call you Pookie. Yes, you did. And that's the paint. Yeah. That was a roll call up there. Yeah. You had Stony Boy, Lil Dream Boy, and Baby Ken took a flick in front of that picture.
Tell me about, briefly about Don Juan and Big Caveman.
Don Juan, well, Don Juan, he was an original, you know. Don Juan stayed in jail a lot, you know what I mean? But Don Juan was a solid type of cat. He was a smart individual, you know. Big Caveman, that was my boy. He was quiet. He started off with the photos, HTH too, and then he turned Rollin Foety neighborhood, but then he turned 9-0. I don't know what happened in the module, but something had happened and went down, and he decided to go to the 90s. But he still represented Foety's. He had a tattoo on him and still was representing Foety's and 90s at the same time.
Was they partly responsible for 40s being neighborhoods?
Who was that?
Caveman and Don Juan.
Don Juan.
Don Juan was?
Yeah, Caveman came later to the neighborhood. On that side, on Vernon going north in the 40s between King Boulevard and Vernon, they were hard-time hustlers, like I said. They didn't adapt the neighborhood till later on, 82.
You keep mentioning Foedeuce. Was the West Side Foedeuce converted to 40s?
Right. West Side Foedeuce. You had the West Side Foedeuce hard-time hustlers on Western, and then you had the Foedeuce over there off of Vermont, the ancient block. Smurf and all of them, C-Mac. All my boys over there, Papa Squally and them, you know, Night Train Black.
When during the years, first of all, let me ask you a question. If you put a year on the Rollin 40s, what year would you give?
I'd give us, to start as a collective or to start as when we really got it on the map as a collective?
Collectively, not on the map, just when y'all actually came together, like you would go somewhere and you like Rollin 40s.
I say 80, 81.
Okay, so before then, did the Fortray or Foedeuce Hoovers try to recruit you guys?
The Foedeuce Hoovers was really trying to recruit everybody that was at Vermont Square Park area. The Fortray, they really didn't try to recruit us. They just hung out with us.
So y'all was cool before the war.
Cool. Right.
So what happens when you leave junior high school and then you start running across the Damus that you went to junior high school with?
I stayed cool with a lot of them. Keith Fudge, Ace Capone, he actually used to come to my house. I mean, we'd be out there thick in front of the house, and he'd roll up, red rags on his bike and everything, and hop out where Mom's at. Mom's in the house. We embrace each other. He'd go in the house just like I would walk over there. Because I had a girl that stayed over there, a 6 Solet. So I would walk straight down Arlington past the park, but he would give me that pass, you know, when they out there.
So was it passes issued out with the 50s with Lee B now? Me
and Lee B didn't get along at all. You know, we hollered today and dropped everything recently, not too long ago. But that was my first main enemy with him. He was like annoyed. That boy was on one.
Is it safe to say the 50s was like y'all your first real beef or first serious? That was
the 50 V. They were 50 VNs at first with PV and Rooster in them in the back part. But then when Lee B came, you know, Lee B came from a different lane.
It's the click. My niggas is active with that gangster shit. Here we go. Connected.
You know, and he rejuvenated them and pumped them back up. But what happened was, what really started the war is that we had a parade on Vernon and 6, going down Vernon and 8 on Vernon and 6, and we thought that Marty and Buck was this guy named Tommy from 6 Deuce Brim, because I was really getting into it with him a lot. And come to find out it was Marty and them, but we didn't care at the time. They just said blood, we rushed them, and that's how that really kicked off the war with us in the 50s. Escalated it.
You remember Bruce Richardson?
Bruce the Baller?
Yeah.
Right.
Would you give him, what gang would you put on him?
I just know him from hanging out with the 5/8, the 50 area. I didn't really know him like far as really being with the gang.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. I knew Bruce as being a Brim, and
right.
when he was having money,
too, right.
Yeah, he had a lot of Brims around him, but I'm the minority in that.
Right.
Y'all beef with A-Tray Hoovers, right? All Hoovers y'all beef with?
That was our first beef with
the A-Tray?
The A-Tray Hoovers.
And how did that start?
They shot K-Rock.
Purposely, accidentally?
Yeah, they just shot him.
Wow.
So it just went on from there.
That was it.
Right.
No turning back.
That was like our first Crip war. We just was getting into it with the Damus in the beginning.
You got, can you remember like your first deaths from your hood?
First death?
Or first few, like who were some of your early homies to get killed?
Well, one of my first brothers that I knew, Doug, he went back with us before we became Crips and all that. We used to have no cliques when elementary and all that, junior, before we got to junior high, called Black Cats and Bombers. He got killed. Derek Porter, he got killed. His mama and his pops got killed with him. That was off of 4th Ave in Vernon. back in the days. Had a brother named Paul that got killed on Vernon and 6th. Had a homie named Pat that got killed on 48th. He hung out with the Dairy Boys. But really the first one that was, to me, was E-Bone. You had more deaths before that, but you know, E-Bone made a real impact when that one happened.
Right. That was the Hoovers?
Yeah.
Fathers?
Right.
Little dude with the business.
Right. That little dude, but with a big heart.
Yeah, big heart.
Right.
A lot of love.
Right. To be honest, we wasn't recognized until the Hoover War had went off. We wasn't recognized in the rolling of the old car in the beginning. You know, it'd be 30, 60, 90s written on the wall, stuff like that. And I remember they had a meeting at Crenshaw for the old car, but we decided that we was gonna meet up in the hood and not go to that meeting. You know what I mean? Not excluding ourselves from that, but we felt as though that we was a hood that was gonna maintain on its own and not just getting beef with another hood because we get along with this hood to side with this hood and just beef with some hood that we don't even have a problem with. You know, we try to keep our diplomatic ways and our politics proper, if you like to say it, in that sense.
Y'all did do that, but we used to always wonder why y'all messed with a lot of gangs we didn't mess with. We was at war with them. We like, what the 40s doing, man?
Right.
But y'all stood on your own.
Right, we had to.
What year do you think y'all really became respected by the whole gang world?
I say 86, 87.
And that's around the Hoover War.
The Hoover
when
War
that started.
You know, we was respected a lot for having money, being hustlers back then, but as far as the Crip business, when we got tested a lot.
Big H once told me that they wanted 40s just to be an extension of the 30s.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Yeah, they said
and y'all just went your own way.
Yeah. At one time, that's how Phil was trying to get us to be Harlem 40s. You know, but we wasn't going for that.
All about the cabbage, nigga, vegetables too. All my niggas turn up. Big guns when we pull our shirt up. Word up, word up, word up. We'll end up with a murder, cause we don't hit the club without a burner. Turn up. I'm so stupid, but I ain't off Slauson, I'm from Vernon Avenue.
The suspected gang members are behind bars, arrested in pre-dawn range this morning. The lengthy investigation into drugs and weapons targeted a gang in South Los Angeles. Eyewitness News reporter Shiba Ravinthan is live at police headquarters in downtown L.A. with details on the sweep. Shiba?
I'm so.
What did you guys do for fun in like the mid-80s? Like, what was...
The mid-80s, like I said, we went to a lot of functions. Uncle Jam's Army DJ for that. Parties everywhere. We used to catch the bus out to Hollywood, to the beach. We did a whole lot. You know, in 87, I actually got signed with Murphy Lynch. I was DJing for Vernon Lynch, Eddie and Charlie Murphy's little brother, Charlie Murphy, rest in peace. We was with a group called K9 Posse. So we would go on tour. So I would take them on tour when I was on the Budweiser Superfest.
Girl, he's looking fly. I'm not your average guy.
We did a lot. We would go to picnics. We would hang out. You know, it was a lot of fun times.
The Uncle Jam's Army, was y'all fighting? A lot of fights.
We partied the most of the time, but we would get into some fights.
Did y'all go to Osco's, Capitol House?
We went to Osco's.
Yeah. What was your relationship like with the PBGs?
Yeah, to get at the PBGs because they was fucking with Baby Pooh. I can't leave out Big Al Bone and No Name Pleasure too. I left them names out. Yeah, there was some originals too.
How about Magic Mountain?
Yeah, we went to Magic Mountain.
G'd up
and everything. Khakis. Me and Al Bone had our twin khaki suits on. Back then, Vernon Avenue rag color was gray.
I'm so stupid, but I ain't off Slauson, I'm from Vernon Avenue. Ooh, glove has two. All about the cabbage, nigga, vegetables too.
So we would have on all the gray khakis, Converses, painted pants, Charlie Browns, golf hats, croquet sacks, you know, Colorado boots with the big blue shoestrings up in them. Yeah, the Pendletons, right.
Any gang rumbles up there?
No, the only gang rumble that was going on was with, who was that, with the 6-0s? It was some, the A-Trade Gangsters
Oh, yeah, all the
that
time.
year.
Yeah, that was all the time.
Yeah. Right. We got into a few fights. We got into some fights at Pacoima with the Don Moves at the Pomona Fairgrounds. We got into some fights. We jumped in when the show lines rushed Horse, Deathlock, and Eddie Boy and Lil Looney, because Lil Looney was my road dog back then.
Lil Looney from where?
Lil Looney from 6-0, rest in peace.
What about other West LA gangs like Marvin and Mansfields?
Well, I knew the brothers that started Mansfield Ghost and them. We didn't get into it. They was Mansfield Hustlers when I went to jail. You know, Marvin's. We didn't hang out with them or nothing. We didn't really beef with them. You know what I mean?
Gear gang?
Us and the Gear Gang got along. Right.
This baseball league you guys played in last year.
Right.
You know, word around town was how good the 40s were.
Yeah, with the glove hat.
I'm so. Hey, Flip. DJ Flip, make the money flip. Make the money flip. I'm so stupid, but I ain't on floss and I'm from Vernon Avenue.
It's Foety softball team. That's right, #1.
So my question is, where did you guys grow up playing baseball?
Oh, some of the brothers played at Van Ness Park. I played in the elementary at 42nd Street School. You know, I didn't play for no teams, but they played for Rancho Park and Van Ness Park. Some of them played at Harvard Park too.
So wasn't no local parks in your neighborhood that y'all played at?
What we got is, no, closest one to us was Van Ness Park.
And y'all got the best softball team.
We got the best, the #1. They gonna do it again.
That's crazy.
You know, we're family orientated. It's good. We're a neighborhood that sticks together. You know, we didn't start off. We used to start off saying like we were families. Like I had a hood pops and his name was Albone, and my older homegirl was my hood mom, Jackie. You know what I mean? I had hood brothers and sisters. Then you know, Pleasure had his hood family. You know what I mean? So we try to stay family orientated now. And even today, even with all the division and all the madness that's going on, we still try to stick together and build. It's about today, you know what I'm saying, going to another level, doing more positive things, reconstructing the area. In 2003, my homie Robert Washington, Little Stork, he took me up to Rancho Park to meet with the Jungles and Tombstone and them. Yo, Ephraim was up there already. So we standing in the park waiting for them to come. So I'm looking around and I'm seeing cars driving by looking fishy. I'm seeing dudes walking, going posting by trees and everything. So I see them surrounding the park. So I tell Little Stork, hey man, you better leave, they fisting to kill me. So he like, nah, we came together, you know what I'm saying, and we gonna die together, because Little Stork, that's been my boy since we was born. You know what I'm saying, my day one with Kevin Brown, right? So they get to walking, surrounding us, so I'm standing in the middle of the circle. This 2003, and we talking about coming together with a truce for some other purposes. So Tombstone, they agreed to the truce, and then you got a couple of them with their knives out and everything looking, and Ace Rat, he got killed later. He's looking at me like he want to blow my noodles off, you know what I mean? So he tell Tombstone, how we know the 40's gonna be serious about this? And Tombstone like, well, we gonna let blood leave a line, you know what I'm saying? So we got up out there. So we had a truce though that went for like at least 6 months. You know, Magic Johnson, Steve Harvey, Tony Muhammad was the mediator of it all, and they started wanting to put money behind us. This when the gang intervention and stuff really started getting the money pot to the city of LA, because people really don't know. It should still be standing the same, but they get like $240 million a year for those purposes for gang intervention. So they was gonna give us in the Jungles $1 million to split. Tony Muhammad had got the Vision Theater in Lamert Park with the Muslims, because we wanted to start a West Coast Apollo there, and we was gonna be securities, they was gonna be securities, then we was gonna get some some frontline G's from other hoods and hire them as security, so everybody was welcome. And they just tell their homies, kick back when they come up there. And HBO was gonna give us $35,000 to split, but mysteriously, I don't know how it happened. All I know is that this brother Ace Rat was in the neighborhood twice that week and nothing happened. You know what I mean? The homies would call me. He at the gas station. We gonna escort him, make sure he get back safe. But he happened to be rolling down Vernon one day and he get killed. It was kind of fishy to me because we was gonna get that $1 million, but then the LAPD and them get $12 million the next day. And I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is.
And that killed the Truce.
That killed it. It killed it. It didn't go off automatically and start over. But since then it ain't been the Truce.
Been a sign.
Right.
Was you out when 40s and 30s came back together?
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about?
Well, I didn't go to the meeting with them, but I know they met and walked together on the King Parade. All I know is that the Tookie family and them gave us a plaque for that. You know what I'm saying? For that truth that went down. It was a matter of time that was gonna happen. It's too much. Yeah. Everybody's too many families.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all grew up together and tight next door.
Right. Yeah.
5 to 10 years from now, where do you see the 40s and 60s beef at?
The 40s and 60s, I don't really see that as a beef, to be honest.
A lot of wall dissing and internet banging.
Internet banging and a lot of wall dissing, but you got a lot of brothers that, see each other and it ain't no beef, ain't no dissing. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that the incident had happened. You know what I mean? But I don't really see it as a beef. What I see is that the trust probably won't be there as thick as it was before. But I don't really see no beef.
It'd be a lot of the youngsters dissing each other, right?
Right.
On both sides.
Right.
And then they go to county jail in the pen
right.
and be sealed up with each other.
Right.
The older dudes, people feel like not stepping in.
Right.
Not doing enough to try to curb the situation.
It's not, you got a lot of originals that's got their family life now going on. They got other things that they do in their life, and they're not coming back to properly guide the youngsters. And, truth be told, you got a lot of older cats that wasn't out there back in the 80s and the 90s, or even in the early 2000s doing their thing, but now they hanging out with these youngsters, misdirecting them, putting the extras on. And then you got a lot of brothers that's out here, that's some originals that's trying to do something right for the communities, but you don't have the support behind it.
All right, that along with what you said earlier about you felt like the 40s wasn't getting a lot of respect in the early years. Let me ask you, did you guys grow up with a chip on your shoulder?
Nah, not really.
No?
No. Just took it like that's how it is, you know what I mean? It wasn't no thing. I mean, a lot of the older brothers, even though they didn't bang around in the neighborhood, they did guide us right, and it's just how it was.
So when you say the older guys guided you guys right, you really the older guys from the neighborhood.
Right, as far as the banging aspect, but I consider the brothers, in the hood, it's a little different now, but if you grew up and you was in that community, you was a part of the hood. We still recognize you as being from the hood, even if you wasn't with the Crip activities, you still a Foety. You a part of this community. Everybody has a position and a role to play. Everybody's important to the community. As far as that's how I looked at it. That's how we grew up. Everybody wasn't the shooter. Everybody wasn't the killer. Everybody wasn't the fighter. Everybody wasn't the dope dealer. So you had people that did other things. Brothers that you would encourage to go to school and be something. Or sisters.
So what are you personally doing to change the direction of the neighborhood?
I do a lot of giveaways, block parties. I'm in the process of putting together a 501c3 to start another nonprofit organization, a community center around there. I'm taking community development. I help out addicts and alcoholics to recover from their addiction. And I talk to the kids. I still stay connected. You know, I still tell them the consequences of the choices that they make. You know what I mean? I understand that I have to look at it. I have to step into their shoes when I was their age, and how would I want somebody to approach me? Because when I'm active, I really ain't trying to hear nothing. But a seed can be planted. You know, and if they bump their heads enough, they might say, well, the big homie is kind of right, and want to follow suit. You know, I make shirts. You know, some people may look at them, you know, and I did get the idea from like Nipsey, and you got the brother who was at Schoolboy and them, they got the Fed Streets. So I came up with my own little community design type shirt for community, you know, and I got a lot of people in the community other than the hood members supporting it.
What about the Lamar Park shirts? Is that you guys too?
Well, the Lamar Park shirts are ours, and I haven't grabbed that idea to sell them because my homie Tiny Shaky, rest in peace, has started those shirts off, and you know, the funding and the proceeds are for his child, and I would just help them sell the shirt to get to the family.
Oh, that's good shit.
Right.
I seen one of my Damu partners wearing a Lamar Park shirt, right? I'm like, man, you know what you wearing?
Right.
He said, well, I got this from Tiny Shaky.
Right.
So, yeah, all that makes sense.
Right.
At one point, you was working with Crenshaw High, right?
Right.
Or in the area, was that for the city or just something?
We had a nonprofit that we had started, and it was called Teamworks, and they would hire us to. They wanted us to do a safe passage up there. I think Development Option does now, but we had started doing it at Audubon, Dublin, and the surrounding schools had wanted us to start doing a safe passage, which is called the Safe Passage up there. And the Urban League would hire us at events, you know, just to call security or whatever you would call us. And so that's what I was doing. But I wanted to get more into getting an office up in there or something, you know, for the kids that they call delinquent. And they can send them, because they don't have that there at Crenshaw High or nothing no more. You know what I mean? They can have mentorship going on inside the school if they allow us to be up in there. And then we could come, we could bring individuals, that was on the path that changed their life, you know, to share with the youngsters what's going on. You know what I'm saying? We need to really look at the definition of gang is two or more people. It don't say that it has to be the negative or positive. It's just two or more in the group. You know what I mean? But if we start like I say, re-educating ourselves and using a communityism or tribalism within us, then we'll get along more with, especially with other communities, because it's okay, that's where you from. Represent where you from then. But there's other ways you can represent where you from. You know what I mean? You can do something positive and still be from that community. Like you got some brothers, I won't mention names, you got some brothers in the NFL, you got some brothers in the music industry and all that, and they still represent where they're from. But they're doing something different. You know what I mean? And that shows that you can be a part of, because everybody want to be a part of something. That's just humankind. We just want to be a part of. You know what I mean?
They can't fuck with us, let alone see us. They blinded. 5 fingers, we love you.